Hey friends, you'll notice our new setting. This is the school book closet, but shh. So, we want to talk about the Harlem Renaissance and the race riots of the Red Summer of 1919, which are exactly what they sound like. It's called the Red Summer because there are violent racial riots all across the United States here for the summer of 1919. Now, a lot of that goes back to the stuff we're talking about with the Klan and the end of World War I and the Great Migration. But the summer of 1919 really sees racial riots breaking out in all the areas of the United States, especially in the Northeast, but it's not just consolidated here, and it's not only in the South, it's pretty much everywhere. This is a very bloody time. A lot of the times the race riots start, as they do, from problems between white people and black people taking offense to something that maybe wasn't meant to be offensive, or being insulted that a black man is wearing a military uniform, which is actually one of the riots starts because a veteran of the World War I service time is wearing a military uniform, and some white people don't appreciate that. But that's a very difficult summer for African American and Black people in America because they've just worked hard to get these rights. We have the Great Migration, they've got these jobs, and then it's like another setback. So during the 1920s, we talked about the Jazz Age and all that stuff, but there's also this big movement for African American and Black culture that comes up called the Harlem Renaissance. And it is a direct result of the Great Migration and of this changing culture. The Harlem Renaissance is what it sounds like. It is a rebirth and a restructuring of the narrative of what it means to be Black and African in America. So it starts in Harlem, New York, which, I don't know if I can necessarily point out here where exactly Harlem is, but it's down here. And if you've been to New York, Harlem is just a neighborhood in New York City. It's not huge. It's not taking up a massive amount of space, but it is the place where this rebirth starts. It is the Mecca of the Black world. The New Negro movement is born in Harlem, and the New Negro movement is a movement of self-discovery and identity. And it's looking to share Black culture, spread Black culture, embrace Black culture, and say that we are a people and we exist. And it's not just whiteness that exists, but Blackness exists too. And it's really seen through things like literature and art and music and pretty much anything that you can think of. And it's debatable. Some people say it starts with the Survey Graphic magazine, where there's an article about the New Negro. Some people say that it's more of a collective movement, and it starts when like blues music and jazz music starts to take over the scene. So I don't know that you can really pin one specific start movement, but I do know that jazz and blues becoming more mainstream is a big part of the Harlem Renaissance. And the reason they're becoming more mainstream is because we have recorded music now. You can buy records. You can listen to music that is created in other places. You don't just have to hear what's in your neighborhood. You don't just have to hear church songs or hymnals and all that stuff. You have more access to more sounds. And in 1920, Mamie Smith records a song called The Crazy Blues under the OK record label. I'll be honest, I don't know if that's how you say it. This record is released across the country, I believe, but in the first month, it sells 75,000 copies just in Harlem. And her success, Mamie Smith's success, is so popular that other Black recording artists, mostly female, become successful artists as well, like Gertrude Ma Rainey, Bessie Smith, Alberta Hunter, Trixie Smith, Victoria Spivey, Clara Smith, Ida Cox, Sippy Wallace, and Ethel Waters. You probably haven't heard a lot of them, but you should look them up. And because they are known for launching the classic blues movement. Bessie Smith is actually one of the most popular classic blues singers, but collectively, these women launched this movement. And because people now have radios, they can hear these Black singers in a way that's going to help work on eroding cultural and social isolation that had defined the rural Southern Black world up until this point. Because African American culture and culture in the Black community always existed, but it wasn't always shared, and now it's being shared. I don't know if this is like my eyes, but it seems like the camera's going back and forth between like a weird color, so I'm really sorry. I don't know why it's doing that. We also get big band music with jazz music. So big band is exactly what it sounds like. You don't have a 5-piece quintet or 4-piece quartet anymore. You have huge jazz bands. We're talking trumpets, tubas, drums, brass bands. Like, we have huge songs now. And we get dance clubs. Jazz takes off, again, this one, it's called the jazz age, right? So there's probably a reason. So jazz, again, while it's centered in Harlem a lot of it also comes from Chicago, and the Midwestern part of the country. And you get people like Louis Armstrong, Duke Ellington, Cab Calloway. And a lot of these men are very famous even today. You all know Louis Armstrong, even if you don't think you do. Duke Ellington is famous for his trumpeting. And Cab Calloway is known for his dancing and his callback song. They play in clubs. The thing is, they play in white clubs, like the Cotton Club. And the Cotton Club in New York, in Harlem, is a whites-only club. So Black performers are allowed to perform there, but not actually eat there or sit in the audience. And so even though we're getting this new culture, it's still blending in with this racism and these segregationist elements. We also get print, Zora Neale Hurston, Langston Hughes, County Cullen, sorry. These men and women who are writers, and they write about Black experiences. They write in Black voice. So it's not the Black experience from a white perspective anymore. It's the Black experience from a Black perspective. And the National Association of Advancement of Colored People, the NAACP, and the National Urban League, which we've talked about, are very crucial in supporting Black literature. There are Black press specifically, even today, and these are critical for getting new talent out and exposing young Black writers to the world. So we did talk about how the new Negro term is created for the magazine survey graphic by Alan Locke. This is a foundational text of the Harlem Renaissance because it tells you what it means to be the new Negro and what that actually means. But we also have Zora Neale Hurston's Their Eyes Were Watching God, which gives us Black dialect and Black perspectives. We've got Langston Hughes, who's writing about his experiences in the South and segregation. That's going to be a theme for all of these writers, is what is it like to be Black in America without the white lens perspective of it. We're getting a whole new perspective, which is why it's a renaissance, because we didn't have that before. We had the white perspective of what being Black was, but not the access to the Black perspective because people didn't want to hear it. And so with the Harlem Renaissance, we get this whole new perspective, which is going to add to the lead up to our civil rights movement and the double V for World War II. But overall, things are still very difficult to be Black in America because you do still have the Klan and we're getting immigration laws and all this stuff. So things are never as easy as it seems, although this is a step towards the future of what we're looking for.